Hi everyone, this is Jay and I'm here to explain you about the group decision making process and its advantages and the disadvantages. According to me, group decision making is a participatory process in which multiple individuals acting and collaborating together work on a particular situation or a problem and try to evaluate the various course of actions that can be taken in order to achieve a particular direction or a solution. A group can consider anywhere between 2 to 10 individuals. The individuals in a group may be demographically similar or quite diverse. But according to me, the more diverse or the more varied the individual panelists are there on that group, the more ideas and the more solution you can actually attain. Because it's just not about that particular presence of mind, but it's also the experience, what they had actually gathered earlier. The process used to arrive at decisions may be unstructured or structured. When I talk about structured or unstructured, it's the graphs or it's the statistics or the data from other sites or the past experience or the previous projects, what they would have completed. It's everything from that. The nature and composition of these groups, their size, their demographic factor, the makeup, the structure, everything affects the group decision making to a certain degree. When I say a certain degree, it's like all the factors collaboratively work together and you have various solutions which is possible. The best example in here is the group which is presenting the topic now. We had a call last Thursday, myself, Igor, Jerry and Carson. We discussed about how effectively and efficiently we can organize this presentation and who would do which topic, all those stuffs. And another example which I would like to tell you guys is about a leadership meeting which we have in our office every Wednesday. In this meeting, we like to jot down top 5 or 6 problems what we have from the past week and what has been running regularly, how it can be solved. So everybody tries to contribute their ideas and tries to portray the data, showing no, this can be done in this way, this can be done that way. So we combinedly take a decision and work towards it. And the next week when we come back to that same position, we actually discuss saying, okay, what are the outputs based on the decision taken last week and how it can be improved if it was not right. The other thing which I've noticed for the past few years after I graduated from my bachelor's was a lot of interviewers are asking for group discussion as one of their main allied process to assess an individual. The theme or task given to you at that particular point is often a reflection of what is required from that particular job. I myself consider a group discussion or group decision and a very good process to explain or show what kind of an ideology or what kind of an individual we may be. I would like to tell you some advantages and disadvantages of group decision making. The first one advantage being the amount of information and the diversity of the views. I would always say that 2 heads are always better than 1. They provide a better sight of decision making according to me. The second advantage is greater acceptability. The views expressed by a group is always accepted rather than a view from a particular individual. It's just a good democratic form of accepting things and moving ahead. The third one which I would like to say is the expert opinion. There may be some decisions or some discussions where the individuals in the room might not be completely aware of that particular topic. So we always have one individual called as a subject matter expert who can drive the team towards that particular way. The fourth one can be the degree of involvement. All the members or all the individuals in the group might not open up in the first way, but slowly they can try to minimize their resistance and talk freely and provide some good ideas. The fifth one can be encourage people's participation. The dynamics of group is more likely to make the hesitant individuals to contribute more and more, so that in few discussions or group decisions which they make after a period of time, they would talk freely and try to express more. Some of the disadvantages which I would like to tell in here is the time-consuming and expensive process. Group decisions are generally time-consuming because it takes an organizing, making it what to do, how to do, what not to do, all those stuffs. And from a management point, it is always expensive because we talk in terms of time, money, labor rate, man hours, and also sometimes the most important thing which everybody says is the opportunity cost, what you could have done in that point rather than doing the group decision or group discussion. The second disadvantage is the individual domination. Sometimes only a few individuals to dominate and the others are not able to contribute. This tries to fade away the group in a certain direction, but that's not how a group decision or group discussion needs to be done. The third disadvantages can be compromise decisions. After the discussions or the decision which is made, the decision is not wholeheartedly accepted by certain individuals. So that's another disadvantage. The fourth disadvantage can be groupism. Some members of the group may start harboring a few of them together and they try to support always that particular individual's ideas. They are not collaborative with the other members in the group. So that's again a negative. In an overall picture or an overall point, I would like to say the group decisions or the group discussion or in a better way, group decisions made from discussion is always good. You can try multiple ideas, you can come up new events or scenarios which you can follow for even a problem or situation which may come later in life, but it's always better. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present this particular topic. Next, I would pass it on to my friend Igor, who would be presenting you the limits of group decision making. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Igor Kleiner and I'm going to be focusing on section 10.4b that has to do with limits of group decision making. And the chapter focuses on two different concepts. One is groupthink and the second one is group polarization. Concept number one is groupthink, and that has to do when a group has poor judgment due to the pressures within the group, the internal pressures. And a couple of reasons why that might happen is sometimes when a group is very homogeneous, very much alike, they think alike, not much diversity, and they become insulated from outside opinions. A couple of other reasons include having to make highly consequential decisions and time constraints. What I found very interesting in this chapter was the example they used to talk about groupthink, and this had to do with NASA. So in 1986, Space Shuttle Challenger exploded and killed those 7 crew members, and NASA had launched an investigation into this accident, and what they came up with was that the accident was due to flawed decision making. In 2003, Space Shuttle Columbia exploded over Texas, killing all 7 crew members, and a natural investigation was launched into this. And what they found was that the decision-making process was nearly identical in 2003 to 1986, resulting in a tragedy. Now, what can we do to avoid the pitfalls of groupthink? One of the ways is to bring in outside experts. Another way is to make sure that the leader of the group avoids stating their opinion prior to the group having time to discuss the issue. Also encouraging group members to play devil's advocate and to re-examine various scenarios. The second concept that this subsection described had to do with group polarization. And basically, that's when a group becomes more polarized as a result of group discussion. So individuals become more entrenched and polarized because of the group discussion. And that can also be dangerous. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I'm going to hand you off to Jerry. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jerry Lumbao Huang from Group 1, and we're here to talk to you about Chapter 10. The topic that we picked is group decision making. We know that there are limitations to group decisions, so therefore, how do we make the most of it? There are actually 4 different techniques of how to do group decision making that I'm going to talk to you about. So the first one is brainstorming. Second one is nominal group technique. The third one is playing devil's advocate. And the second one is dialectical inquiries. So first one, brainstorming. What is brainstorming? We all know brainstorming is pretty much a whole group just come together and sit around the table and come up with ideas. However, do we know what's not good about this? It just everybody tends to listen to other people's ideas. Nobody really focus on their own. So one of the methods that the book suggests that there's a thing called electronic brainstorming. Electronic means computer, so pretty much everybody just goes on computer, type in their own ideas. So as a group, you do generate a lot of ideas. However, the con for this method is that people don't really listen to what other people are suggesting. So how do we fix it? One way that we can do it is pretty much tell the group that the members for this decision-making group is everybody's really creative. So this way it will entice the members to actually listen to other people's ideas. So therefore, everybody will listen to each other instead of just focusing on their own. Now the second method I'm going to talk to you about is nominal group technique. And we all know this method. It may sound familiar. When professor has a chart on the board, pretty much start asking everybody in the class what their ideas are. And then professor writes down all the ideas, and everybody sees the idea that are written down so they don't repeat. And everybody go up and write up like a new idea until the whole chart is met, or until in workplace management is satisfied with the amount of decision that the group came up with. This is a pretty good method to make sure that there's no criticism that happens. People can ask to get clarification on the ideas, but that's it. Now, the third method is when you actually want to criticize people, which is playing devil's advocate. Everybody in the group's responsibility is to criticize the new idea that came up. This is a good method because it kind of prevents any pitfall or any mistake from happening, because the whole group came up with what's wrong with it already. What's bad is that a lot of ideas tend to get shut down because everybody have a lot of negative things to say about it. So therefore, it leads us to the fourth method, which is dialectical inquiry. This method kind of have 2 teams on each side. So kind of like what happened in my company last week when we have production and logistics coming together in a meeting. So production wanted want to find out if there's a new way to get a new material, but logistic is saying that production is actually the one who's been breaking the material. So what's on the market already are whatever is there. So they came together to find out how can we make a better product with the material we have already. Do we change the procedure, or do we find a better raw material that make up this drug? So to prevent drug shortages, we don't want like a lose-win situation where one kind of save more than the other. We kind of want a whole group to come together to find out what the real problem is and find a solution. So in a dialectical inquiries, you kind of need a moderator to kind of pick out the good thing and the bad thing from each group, and then come together. So as a company as a whole, we can move further. All right, thanks everybody.
Hey everyone. My name is Carson Seelinger, and I will be talking about the special decision-making groups such as quality circles, quality teams, and self-managed teams. Now, a top priority for any type of business is quality. One of the ways businesses ensure quality in their group decision-making is by forming what's called quality circles. Now, personally, the concept of quality circles was new to me, but it was made popular back in the 1970s when Toyota introduced it to their manufacturing. Now, what exactly is a quality circle? Quality circle is a small group of people, typically between 3 to 8 people, that will contribute about 2 or 3 hours per week to address things such as quality control or even cost reduction. Now, these individuals usually have very similar or maybe even the same type of job, so they can take their hands-on experience, true up their practices, and make recommendations to the managers so they can implement it for the whole group. Now, this is the key difference between a quality circle and a quality team. A quality team is actually empowered to act on their own recommendations by management. So a quality team is usually coming down from the leadership in the company. So it's top down into organizations, and they have the ability to go ahead and implement their own recommendations. Now, this setup is a little more common in Western type businesses, as many of you have probably interacted with some sort of quality manager or even a quality team in your workplace. Now, the last group we want to talk about is what's called a self-managed team. Decision-making for these groups are usually pretty broad, especially when it's compared to quality teams. These teams actually take on work that was probably once done by the managers, such as scheduling. Now, personally, I do have some experience with a self-managed team. Back when I was working in retail throughout college, the managers delegated the shift scheduling to a self-managed team, which honestly I thought was a little ambitious at first, but the results were great. People felt a little more in control of their schedule, and it seemed a little less like an assignment and gave us more freedom to adjust our schedules. Now, in this video, we've talked about advantages and disadvantages of group decision-making, with Jay giving us examples of social decision schemes. Igor discussed the issues of groupthink and group polarization and how groups can overcome those challenges, while Jerry gave us common practices that are used in group decision-making, such as brainstorming and nominal group technique. And then we followed up with a talk on special decision-making groups. Well, that concludes our discussion on group decision-making. And on behalf of Jay, Igor, and Jerry, we want to thank you for taking the time to watch our video. Thank you.